of Te Ao Tuiono joining us remotely.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Foreign Affairs and reads as follows. Will she urge the Indonesian government to stop the abuse of the human rights of West Papuans protesting against the further division of their country into provinces against their wishes?
The Honourable Nanaia Nahuta.
Mr. Speaker, as we conduct our diplomatic engagement on a range of issues, we fully respect Indonesia's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Aotearoa New Zealand continues to register its concerns with Indonesian authorities about human rights situations in Papua. These are issues I discussed personally with the Indonesian President Widodo and Foreign Minister Marsudi during my visit to Indonesia in November last year. I discussed these issues again with Minister Marsudi in Paris in February this year. In my engagement with the Government of Indonesia, I've encouraged them to deliver on the goals and principles underpinning special autonomy for the benefit of all Papuans, including recognition of the rights of Indigenous peoples in Papua.
Supplementary. Does she still support the call from the Pacific Islands foreign leaders for the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights to be permitted to visit West Papua? And if so, what will she do in addition to meeting with the Commissioner?
Mr. Speaker, Aotearoa New Zealand supports the Pacific Islands Forum approach for open and constructive engagement with Indonesia regarding the human rights situation in Papua and the leaders' call for the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights to be permitted to visit Papua. When I met with the High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, in Geneva this year, I was clear that Aotearoa strongly supports the work of the United Nations Human Rights Council and encourages all states to allow access for visits.
We're going now to Golriz Garaman, joining us remotely.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister, what steps will she take to ensure New Zealand is not contributing to human rights abuses by importing timber and minerals from Indonesia, though produced in West Papua, in conditions that deny the rights of the Indigenous peoples of West Papua?
We continue to advocate with Indonesia in relation to human rights issues and the treatment of those Indigenous peoples in Papua. Again, we respect their sovereignty, we raise these issues with them, it is upon them to act.
Te Ao Tuiono remotely.
Does she support the call from West Papuans for a referendum on self-determination for their people?
Mr. Speaker, we fully respect, as I said, the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Indonesia. A point of difference that New Zealand has to offer other countries is a comparative example in relation to the expression of Indigenous rights and interests. But let me be clear, the context for which New Zealand is able to share its experience will differ to other countries. I am aware that these are sensitive issues and that it's not often easy for other countries to deal with Indigenous matters. We continue to encourage active dialogue between all parties within Indonesia to find a way forward, and if called on, New Zealand will share its experience.
That concludes oral questions. I call on Government Order of the Day number 1.